She joined the army to serve her country. Instead, her country failed to protect her. On April 22, 2020, a 20-year-old soldier named Vanessa Guillen walked into the arms room at Fort Hood, Texas, the largest military base in America. By the end of that day, she would be dead, bludgeoned to death within the confines of the base she trusted. Her body would be dismembered, burned, and buried in a shallow grave 30 miles away. And for weeks, nobody would tell her family the truth. Thank you to all our loyal viewers and subscribers. Your support means everything. We're here every day with gripping true crime stories, deep dives, and the chilling details you won't hear anywhere else. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an update. Because here at True Crime Vault, we don't just tell stories. We uncover the truth. This is the story of Vanessa Guillen. A story about a young woman's dreams, a system that failed her, and a family's relentless fight for justice in the face of military silence and deception. Vanessa Iris Guillen was born on September 30th, 1999, in Houston, Texas. She came from a close-knit Hispanic family, the kind where your parents know your best friends by name, where Sunday dinners matter, where your mother can read the slightest change in your expression because she knows you that well. Her parents, Raji, Leo, and Gloria Guillen, raised 6 children together. Vanessa was known among her siblings and friends as spunky, energetic, and impossibly friendly. She had that rare quality, the kind of person who made everyone around her feel seen, feel valued. She loved soccer. She loved sports. She loved the feeling of pushing her body to its limits. Academically, Vanessa was just as driven. She graduated high school in 2018 in the top 15% of her class. She wasn't just smart. She was disciplined, focused, the kind of teenager who knew what she wanted from life. And what she wanted was to serve. Shortly after graduation, Vanessa made her decision. She would join the United States Army. Her parents were proud. This was their daughter's dream, to be part of something bigger than herself, to protect the country she loved, to do meaningful work. Vanessa enlisted as a private first class and became a small arms and artillery repairer. She was assigned to Fort Hood in Texas, stationed there with the knowledge that she was safe, that this massive base, with its cameras and checkpoints and thousands of soldiers, would keep her secure while she served. For a while, it seemed like everything was going according to plan. But 3 weeks before Vanessa disappeared, her mother noticed something. Gloria Guillen knew her daughter better than anyone. They were incredibly close. The kind of close where a mother can sense the slightest shift in her child's emotional state. And Gloria sensed it. Something had changed. Vanessa had become withdrawn. She wasn't sleeping well. She wasn't communicating the way she used to. She had lost that sparkle, that energy that defined her. Vanessa's mother asked her directly, "What's going on? What's wrong?" And eventually, Vanessa told her she was being sexually harassed. There was a sergeant on the base. He was stalking her, watching her while she worked out, following her between the places where she lived and worked. He was making her feel incredibly unsafe in the one place where she was supposed to be protected. Gloria immediately wanted to report it. She wanted to fight. She wanted to protect her daughter the way mothers do. But Vanessa refused to give her the sergeant's name. She was terrified, not of him, but of what would happen if her mother got involved. Vanessa had witnessed other women in the army report similar situations. She had seen what happened to them. They weren't protected. They weren't believed. The system didn't help them. It silenced them. So Vanessa told her mother she would handle it herself. She promised, but she never told her who the man was. In her final conversation with her sister Mayra, the night before she disappeared, Vanessa seemed fine. They talked about a car she was thinking about buying. Mayra noticed nothing unusual. Nothing that suggested that in less than 24 hours, her sister would be gone forever. On the morning of April 22nd, 2020, Vanessa was called into work unexpectedly. She wasn't supposed to be on base that day. Someone called her in. To this day, nobody has explained who made that call or why. That afternoon, Vanessa was assigned to work in the arms room, the secured area where weapons are stored. At some point, she left to visit another arms room on base. She needed to confirm some serial numbers on equipment. This second arms room was managed by a 20-year-old specialist named Aaron Robinson. According to Robinson, Vanessa came in. He helped her read off serial numbers. He gave her some paperwork. Everything seemed routine. But when Vanessa left that room, she left behind something crucial: her bank card, her Army ID, and her keys. Robinson told investigators that he believed Vanessa was headed to the motor pool next. Workers at the motor pool were expecting her to show up. She never arrived. The last outgoing text message on Vanessa's phone was to Aaron Robinson. He had texted her to let her know he was in the arms room. Robinson was the last person confirmed to have seen her alive. That evening, Robinson claimed he left the base and went to his house off base. He said he spent the entire night at home with his girlfriend, a woman named Cicely Aguilar. According to Robinson, they were just relaxing. Nothing unusual, just a quiet night at home. The next morning, he said he returned to the base at 6:30 a.m. to work his shift, but something didn't add up. When Vanessa didn't show up for her shifts, when she didn't answer her phone, when she simply vanished into base she was supposed to be protected by, her family reported her missing. On April 23, 2020, the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Division got involved. Reward money was posted. First $15,000, then $25,000. Then the League of United Latin American Citizens matched it, bringing the total to $50,000. But from the beginning, something seemed impossible. How could a soldier simply disappear from the largest military base in America? This wasn't a civilian area. This was a fortress of surveillance. Cameras everywhere. Checkpoints. Security protocols. Thousands of people constantly moved through the grounds. Nobody saw Vanessa leave. No camera picked her up. No evidence suggested she ever walked off that base. It seemed from the very beginning that she never left at all. For weeks, the investigation stalled. Vanessa's family grew desperate. They demanded answers. They reached out to the media. They posted on social media. They refused to let the Army brush this under the rug. A month after Vanessa's disappearance, investigators began interviewing witnesses on the base. Multiple soldiers came forward with the same story. They had seen Aaron Robinson walking around the base. He was carrying a large, industrial-style tough box, the kind used for equipment storage. Heavy, industrial, the kind of box that requires real strength to move. According to these witnesses, Robinson had emerged from the arms room with this box. He had walked through the base with it, and then he had loaded it into his car. One witness said he was struggling with the weight. It looked incredibly heavy, as if he was straining to lift it. Then he drove away. The day after investigators heard these accounts, they moved quickly. They obtained a universal forensic extraction device, a tool that pulls everything from a phone, not just surface data. Everything, every text, every location, every digital footprint. When they examined Aaron Robinson's phone records, inconsistencies began to emerge. He claimed he had spent the entire evening of April 22nd at home with his girlfriend, just relaxing. But his phone showed something different. He had called Cicely multiple times that night. Several minute-long calls. Not the quick, hey, find your phone kind of calls. Actual conversations. Why would you need to call your girlfriend if you're sitting next to her all night? In the early morning hours of April 23rd, hours when Robinson should have been sleeping before his 6:30 a.m. shift, he was calling her again. When investigators confronted Cicely with these inconsistencies, her story crumbled. She admitted the truth. She and Robinson had both gone out that night. They drove to an area called Belton, Texas. They claimed it was for stargazing. They said she liked to take drives when she was stressed. But when investigators looked at Robinson's GPS data, they found something chilling. Around 2:30 a.m. on April 23rd, Robinson's phone pinged near a bridge in Belton. His location then tracked north along a river called the Leon River. For 2 hours, his phone showed him traveling along that river. Cicely's phone showed the exact same pattern. On June 21st, investigators searched the Leon River based on this GPS data. They found a burned plastic container, an obvious burn site with disturbed soil underneath it, and something else. The unmistakable scent of decomposition. No remains yet, but the search was narrowing. 6 days later, contractors working on a fence near the river made a discovery that would break the case open. They found human remains. Among the scattered, decomposed fragments, they noticed something that made the scene even more disturbing. Bits of lime had been mixed with the dirt and soil. Someone had tried to accelerate the decomposition process. Someone had tried to erase evidence. Vanessa's remains had been found. When confronted with the GPS evidence and the remains found at the Leon River, Cicely Aguilar's facade completely fell apart. On June 30th, she confessed everything. Aaron Robinson, she said, had called her on April 22nd. He told her what he had done. He had bludgeoned a female soldier to death inside the Fort Hood base. After killing her, he had placed her body inside that industrial tough box and carried it off the base himself. Nobody had stopped him. Nobody had questioned him. He then drove to pick up Cicely from her job at a gas station. Together, they drove to the Leon River. Robinson had already left the box there, abandoned in the remote area, waiting. When they arrived, Robinson opened it. Vanessa's body was inside. Robinson told Cicely he needed her help disposing of the body. And somehow, in a decision that remains incomprehensible, Cicely agreed. She had been dating Robinson for only 2 months. 2 months, and yet she would now become an accomplice to murder. Together, they dismembered Vanessa. They attempted to burn her remains, but the fire grew too large, too bright. They were terrified the smoke would draw attention. Someone would see. Someone would come. So instead, they stopped the fire. They dug 3 separate holes in the ground and buried what was left of Vanessa in those holes, 1 piece in each grave. Then they went home. They cleaned themselves up. They burned their clothes. And they went about their lives as if nothing had happened. But Cicely couldn't maintain the facade for long. 2 days after Vanessa disappeared, Cicely posted a selfie on Instagram with a caption that read, "The most dangerous woman of all is the one who refuses to rely on you to save her because she was never a damsel in distress." Over the following weeks, she continued posting more selfies, more captions, dark, cryptic messages about demons and darkness and falling for someone's evil side. She posted images with quotes like, "I will not have you without the darkness that hides within you. I will not let you have me without the madness that makes me." She seemed to view what she had done as some sort of dark romance, some twisted Bonnie and Clyde narrative. She showed no remorse, only a chilling pride in her complicity. But Cicely's confession wasn't voluntary. Investigators had used her own admissions against her. Police had secretly had her call Robinson while they listened. They played back everything she had told them. Robinson didn't deny a single word. He simply agreed, "Yes, that's what happened. That's what we did." Investigators had also recovered text messages from Robinson to Cicely, where he was sending her news articles about remains being found. During one phone call, Robinson said something that sealed his fate. "Maybe they found the pieces," he said. He was supposed to be confined to his room on base. But on June 30th, the same day Cicely confessed, Robinson somehow left the base. For days, investigators searched for him. On July 2nd, they tracked him down while walking on the street. When they approached him, Aaron Robinson pulled a gun. He put it to his own head, and he fired. He was a coward. He knew the evidence against him was insurmountable. He knew there was no escape. Rather than face what he had done, rather than face accountability or trial or justice, he took the easy way out. He erased himself from the equation, but he couldn't erase what he had done. What should have been a straightforward case, a missing soldier, a clear suspect, concrete evidence, became something far more troubling. Because the more investigators looked into it, the more they discovered that the Army had failed Vanessa long before she was murdered. Consider the timeline. Multiple witnesses came forward within a month of Vanessa's disappearance. They reported seeing Aaron Robinson carrying a heavy, industrial box out of the arms room on the day Vanessa went missing. They said he struggled with the weight. They said he loaded it into his car and drove away. This information was available to the military police. These were credible witnesses. Multiple accounts of the same suspicious behavior. Did the Army immediately bring Robinson in for questioning? Did they search his home? Did they treat him as a suspect based on this eyewitness testimony? No, nothing happened. The military seemed content to let the investigation stall, while Vanessa's family begged for answers. Even more troubling, Vanessa herself had reported concerns. 3 weeks before her death, she had told her mother she was being sexually harassed by a sergeant on base. A sergeant who was stalking her, watching her, making her unsafe. Her mother had urged her to report it, but Vanessa was terrified. She knew what happened to women who reported sexual harassment in the military. They weren't protected. They were dismissed. Their allegations were minimized or ignored entirely. On July 2nd, 2020, the very day Aaron Robinson shot himself, Fort Hood released an official statement. They claimed to have found no evidence that Robinson had ever sexually harassed Vanessa. No evidence. Despite Vanessa telling her family that she was being harassed. Despite her clear distress in the weeks before her death. Despite the fact that her family has consistently stated she was about to make an official report. The Army's narrative became this. Robinson killed Vanessa because she had discovered he was having an affair with Cicely Aguilar, who was married to another soldier on base. Robinson was supposedly afraid Vanessa would report the infidelity and get him in trouble. It's an explanation that conveniently removes the Army from responsibility. It's a story about a personal conflict between soldiers, not about a systemic failure to protect a young woman who was crying out for help. But Vanessa's family doesn't believe it. Most people who have examined the evidence don't believe it. The truth, many suspect, is that Vanessa was about to report her sexual harasser. Robinson knew she was a threat to him, so he eliminated that threat. And the Army, perhaps trying to protect its image, has worked to cover up the real motive. Even with Robinson dead and Cicely in custody, massive questions remain unanswered. How did Robinson kill Vanessa so violently, bludgeoning her with a hammer inside the secure arms room, without anyone hearing her scream, without anyone hearing the impact of blows, without any disturbance being reported? The Army claims a murder happened between 10:23 and 11:13 a.m. But Vanessa's lawyers have raised a compelling point. How did no one walk into that room during those 50 minutes? How did Robinson clean up what would have been a horrific scene? How did he get the body into the tough box without anyone seeing? How did he get off a military base carrying a heavy box without being stopped? It seems physically impossible. It seems like at least one other person must have been involved. Someone to keep watch. Someone to help. Someone to cover for him. Then there's the matter of the gun Robinson used to kill himself. The Army claims it was his personal weapon. But how did a soldier confined to his room on base, explicitly told not to leave, manage to leave the base, retrieve a gun and return? The security protocols don't add up. The timeline doesn't add up. The official narrative doesn't add up. And there's another, even more troubling detail. The day after Vanessa went missing, the Army conducted their standard accountability check. This is a daily protocol where military personnel verify that all soldiers assigned to the base are present and accounted for, safe and secure. The Army reported that everyone was accounted for. Everyone. Vanessa Guillen was already dead. Her remains were already hidden. Yet the Army reported her as present and safe. How? The soldier who conducted the check later admitted he had been lazy. He claimed he simply saw Vanessa without actually verifying her presence. He made an assumption. He didn't do his job. It's a small detail, but it's also a symptom of a larger problem. Nobody was truly paying attention. Nobody was truly protecting these soldiers. Cicely Aguilar is currently being held at Bell County Jail. She's charged with conspiracy to tamper with evidence and conspiracy to commit murder. She faces up to 20 years in prison. Some have argued that she deserves leniency because she eventually cooperated with police. She confessed. She provided key evidence. Without her testimony, would they have ever convicted Robinson? But there's something deeply unsettling about Cicely Aguilar's behavior in the aftermath of Vanessa's murder. She posted selfies. She captioned them with dark, poetic verses about demons and madness and falling for someone's evil side. She seemed to view herself as a dark, romantic figure, A woman so devoted to her man that she would help him dispose of a body. A woman so morally unmoored that she could smile for the camera 2 days after helping dismember a young soldier. Then, a few days after the remains were found, she and Robinson returned to the burial site. They dug up Vanessa's remains. They attempted to burn them a second time. When that didn't work, they placed what was left of her back in the ground and poured concrete over top. Concrete, as if they could just seal away what they had done. Seal away Vanessa. Seal away their guilt. Cicely's cooperation came only when she was caught. Only when the evidence was undeniable. Only when she realized she had no other choice. She didn't come forward out of conscience. She didn't confess out of remorse. She confessed because she was trapped. And yet, she still shows no real remorse. Even when facing justice. Even when confronted with her charges. She seemed unfazed, unbothered, while the military remained silent, while the investigation stalled, while questions went unanswered. Vanessa's family refused to be quiet. Gloria Guillen, Vanessa's mother, became a force. She spoke to the media. She demanded accountability. She called on Congress to investigate Fort Hood's handling of the case. In one interview, Gloria said in Spanish that the Fort Hood leaders were a bunch of clowns in a circus. She said they had lied to her. They had mistreated her. They had not given Vanessa the respect she deserved as a member of the Army. Vanessa's sister Mayra became the family's public voice. She gave interviews. She attended press conferences. She spoke about her sister with a clarity and determination that would not be ignored. The family, through their attorney, has raised critical questions about the Army's response. Why weren't eyewitnesses questioned more thoroughly when they reported seeing Robinson with the heavy box? Why did it take so long for him to be considered a serious suspect? Why were there such obvious failures in security and accountability? On July 11, 2020, Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner announced that July 11th would forever be known as Vanessa Guillen Day in the city of Houston. It was a small gesture, but it meant something. It meant Vanessa was being remembered. It meant her death was not going to be erased. Murals appeared throughout Houston. Artwork celebrating Vanessa's life. People gathered to demand justice. Vanessa's story reached far beyond Fort Hood. It reached across the country. And something else happened. When Vanessa's story became public, other women came forward. Soldiers who had experienced similar harassment, who had been assaulted, who had reported their attackers and been ignored. They shared their stories with the hashtag Vanessa Guillen. Dozens of women, hundreds of women, all telling variations of the same story. All describing a system that had failed them. A system that had prioritized the reputation of the institution over the safety of its members. Vanessa's death became a catalyst for change. Or at least an attempt at change. In response to Vanessa's death and the systemic failures that preceded it, her family has been pushing for legislation. Specifically, the I Am Vanessa Guillen bill. This proposed law would create a third-party reporting system for military members to report sexual assault and harassment. Currently, military personnel are forced to report to their chain of command. They report to their superior officers, people they work with every day, people who may have their own reasons to downplay or ignore such reports. But with a third-party system, military members could report harassment and assault to an outside agency. They could come forward without fear that their immediate leadership would bury the report. They could seek protection without worrying that speaking up would damage their military career. It's a simple reform, but it's one that could have saved Vanessa's life. If she had known she could report Aaron Robinson to an outside agency, if she had known her report would be taken seriously, if she had known she would be believed and protected, would she have tried to handle it alone? Would she have kept it secret? We'll never know. But Vanessa's family believes this bill honors her memory. It transforms her tragedy into something that protects others. Vanessa was promoted posthumously. On July 1st, 2020, she was advanced from private first class to specialist, a rank she earned through her dedication and service, even though she would never wear the insignia. And on June 30th, 2020, Vanessa was advanced to the rank of specialist. It was a small gesture, a recognition of her service. a way for the military to acknowledge her commitment to her country. Even as they failed her in life, Vanessa Guillen was 20 years old when she died. She had her whole life ahead of her. She had dreams. She had a close family who loved her. She had a community that celebrated her. Instead, she became a victim of a system that was supposed to protect her. Instead, she became a cautionary tale about what happens when institutions prioritize their reputation over the safety of the people they serve. The people responsible for her death face consequences. Aaron Robinson escaped through suicide. Cicely Aguilar sits in prison, awaiting trial, showing no remorse for her role in a horrific crime. But the larger questions remain. The systemic failures remain. The culture that enabled Robinson to target Vanessa, that allowed his harassment to continue unchecked, that made her feel unsafe in the place where she was supposed to be protected, that culture still exists. Change is slow. Reforms are incremental. The military is a massive institution, and institutions resist change. But Vanessa's family refused to let her death be meaningless. They refused to let the army sweep this under the rug. They refused to accept easy answers or convenient narratives. They fought. They demanded answers. They demanded justice. And they demanded change. In the end, Vanessa Guillen's legacy is complicated. It's tragic, certainly, but it's also powerful. Her story has sparked conversations about sexual harassment in the military. It has inspired legislation. It has given voice to countless women who have been silenced. Her mother's words in that interview, that the forwarded leaders are a bunch of clowns in a circus, those words resonated because many people agreed. Many people had seen the failures. Many people had wondered how such a massive institution could fail so completely to protect one young woman. Vanessa Guillen deserved better. She deserved to be safe. She deserved to be believed. She deserved to live. And her family deserves to know the full truth about what happened to her. Whether that truth ever comes out through official channels remains to be seen. Thank you for bearing witness to Vanessa's story. Thank you for remembering her name. Thank you for demanding accountability and justice. Vanessa Guillen was a person, a daughter, a sister, a soldier. She deserved to be remembered as more than just a victim of violence. She deserved to live. If you or someone you know is experiencing sexual harassment or assault, please reach out. Please report it. Your voice matters. Your safety matters. We honor Vanessa's memory by refusing to stay silent, by refusing to accept that this is just the way things are, by demanding change. Her story doesn't end here. It continues in the hearts of everyone who knows her, in the legislation being pushed forward in her name, in the conversations her death has sparked. Vanessa Guillen, September 30th, 1999 to April 22nd, 2020. May we never forget. If Vanessa's story moved you, if it stirred something in you, we need you to act. Subscribe to True Crime Vault and join our community of people who refuse to let these stories be forgotten. Turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Share Vanessa's story. Share this video. Make sure her name continues to be spoken. And in the description below, we've included links to resources for sexual harassment and assault survivors. We've included information about the Vanessa Guillen bill and how you can support reform in the military. We've included ways to get involved, to make a difference. Don't just watch the story. Be part of the change it represents. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring.